The lunchroom at Pinewood Middle School, nestled in the damp Oregon suburbs, wasn't a battlefield of thrown food or fistfights. It was a silent arena, where a razor-sharp glance could slice through everything: who was accepted, who was an outcast. Emily Harper, 13 years old, sat hunched in the far corner of the cafeteria, her trembling hands peeling the wrapper off a shredded chicken and cheese sandwich, trying to block out the venomous whispers 2 tables away. "Well, is she always skulking alone like that?" a voice rang out, deliberately loud enough for her to hear, pricking her skin like a needle. Probably 'cause no one can stand to be her friend. Emily bit her lip until it stung, eyes glued to the scratched-up wooden table, her heart pounding like it might burst through her chest. As one of the few black students at Pinewood, she'd learned early that blending in was a pipe dream. She chose to vanish, drifting through the halls like a ghost, dodging every stare, shrinking into a protective shell. But for Ryan Mitchell, that shell was never enough. Ryan wasn't your average student. He strutted like he owned the whole damn world. Son of James Mitchell, the town's real estate mogul, with connections stretching from the school board to the fancy golf club. Teachers said his name with forced smiles. Parents invited him to summer pool parties, and he could talk his way out of anything with that slick tongue. For the past month, Ryan had turned Emily into his twisted plaything. It started small, knocking books off her desk, accidentally shoving her in the hallway, stuff no one dared call bullying, just kids being kids. But today he set his sights on her lunch, and all hell broke loose. Emily had just taken her first bite, the melted cheese still warm in her mouth, when a rough hand yanked the wrapper from her grip. She snapped her head up. Ryan stood there, flashing a toothy grin, his eyes glinting with malice like a predator. "What's on the menu today, Harper?" He tore the wrapper apart, pulling out the chicken sandwich, wrinkling his nose dramatically like he'd smelled garbage. "Shredded chicken and cheese? Guess your dad's prosecutor gig pays so shitty you can't afford decent food, huh?" Laughter erupted from his crew, sharp as a razor's edge, stabbing straight into her heart. Emily clenched her fists under the table, nails digging into her skin until it bled, jaw locked so tight it ached, but she didn't open her mouth. Ryan leaned in close, his breath hot and sour on her face. "You ought to kneel down and kiss my feet. I'm helping you look less pathetic." He tossed the sandwich over his shoulder. It hit the floor with a soft splat, cheese splattering everywhere. Blood rushed to Emily's head, her ears ringing, her stomach twisting like someone was strangling it. She wouldn't cry. Not here, not in front of them, even though tears brimmed at the edges of her eyes. She bent down to pick up what was left, her shaking hands brushing the cold floor, but a shiny sneaker stomped it flat right in front of her, grinding hard like it wanted to crush her into dust. Ryan smirked. "Oops, my bad, sorry about that." The laughter hit again, this time slashing her chest open, cut after cut. The world shrank. Just Emily, the mashed-up sandwich, and their eyes boring into her like spotlights hunting a fugitive. They wanted her to break, to scream. But she wouldn't give them the satisfaction. She snatched her backpack, shot to her feet, shoved through the tables, her steps quick like she was fleeing. The whispers and snickers chased her like a pack of wolves. Her eyes burning, but she didn't stop. Barreling past the cafeteria doors, past the lockers, crashing into the girls' bathroom. She locked the stall, collapsed onto the toilet lid, hugged her knees, and took a shuddering breath, her chest throbbing like it might explode. This wasn't new. She'd wait for the bell, slip out, pretend it never happened. Tell someone? Pointless. Teachers would say ignore it, the principal would call it a misunderstanding. She'd tried before, and no one gave a damn. Tomorrow would be another spiral into hell, but Emily had no clue that tomorrow she'd snap, and Ryan would shove her to the deepest edge. Right now, she just curled up in the bathroom stall, hands clenched, white-knuckled, breaths coming fast like she was drowning. That afternoon, she got home silent as a statue. She bolted upstairs, shut her door softly. She wasn't the type to smash things to vent, though a hurricane raged inside her. Her dad, Daniel Harper, the prosecutor, new to Pinewood, caught it instantly. His deep voice carried through the wooden door. "Emily, you okay?" She froze, hands gripping her backpack straps until it hurt, then dropped it with a thud on the bed. "Yeah, just tired, Dad. A heavy pause. "All right, rest up. Dinner's in an hour." She waited until his footsteps faded before letting out a breath, but her chest still felt crushed under a boulder. He'd just moved here, tackling his first big case, prosecuting a local gang, and he didn't need her teenage drama piled on top. She could handle it herself. But the next day, Ryan made damn sure she couldn't. Before first period, Emily was rummaging through her locker when a hard blow slammed into her back. She stumbled forward, her head nearly cracking against the cold metal, books spilling everywhere. Laughter blared like an alarm, sharp and vicious. She whipped around, fists balled tight, eyes blazing red. Ryan leaned against the lockers, smirking. "Oops, sorry, Harper. Didn't see you there. You're so small." "Get out of my way," she snarled, her voice cracking with fury. He raised an eyebrow, stepping closer. "What was that? You giving me orders now? Who the hell do you think you are?" She trembled, itching to smash that smug face, but held back, shoving past him. Ryan yelled after her, "Run, you coward! I'm not done with you yet!" By lunchtime, rumors spread like wildfire. She walked into the cafeteria, whispers clinging to her like ghosts. "Heard she tried to fight Ryan? No way, but they say she shoved him flat, screaming like a psycho." Bet she bawled her eyes out after. Emily froze, mouth dry, heart hammering like it might explode. Ryan sat at the center table, regal as a king, scrolling his phone with a wicked grin. Her hands gripped her sweater so hard the threads snapped, blood boiling in her veins. This wasn't just knocking books or stealing food anymore. It was a campaign to destroy her, to make her a pariah no one dared approach. And it worked. She sat alone that day, the next, and the one after. Everyone's stares stabbing into her back like knives. By Friday, she thought he might have gotten bored. The final bell rang, and she bolted for the front doors, hurrying across the parking lot, relieved to escape this hellhole. "Hey, Harper!" Ryan's voice sliced through the air like a blade. She ignored it, picking up speed. "Where you rushing off to? Thought we were best buds." A hand clamped her wrist, squeezing like a vice. She yanked free, spinning around. "Don't you touch me, you bastard!" Ryan laughed loud, his posse howling. "Ooh, she's losing it now!" "Leave me alone!" she screamed, voice breaking, tears threatening but crushed by rage. He leaned in, eyes flashing with cruelty. "What, gonna tattle to your daddy? Prosecutor's gonna sue me? Go ahead and try." Something in her snapped, clean in half. Emily shoved him hard, throwing every ounce of strength into it. Ryan staggered, nearly falling, his face twisting in shock, eyes wide. His crew went dead quiet for a second, then burst into hyena-like cackles. But Ryan wasn't laughing. He growled, lunging toward her. "What the hell did you just do, Harper? Think you can get away from me? I'll make you regret this." She turned and ran, heart pounding like war drums, breath ragged like she was choking. It should have ended there. But Ryan wasn't used to humiliation, and right then he swore he'd grind her into the dirt. That night Emily couldn't sleep a wink. She lay in bed, moonlight piercing through the curtains, casting shadows on the ceiling, her mind spinning with the parking lot scene. Ryan's face when she shoved him, the fleeting silence from his crew, then the laughter stabbing like knives. She'd never fought back before, and now she knew a storm was coming. Saturday and Sunday dragged by in suffocating anxiety, but nothing happened. Monday morning she told herself maybe he'd let it go. She was dead wrong. It all exploded on the stairs, whispers spreading like poison wind. By third period, the snickers turned into invisible blades. Students pointed phones at her, gesturing, shaking their heads, eyes gleaming with sick curiosity. Emily's stomach twisted, and she bolted into English class, collapsing at her desk, hands trembling as they covered her face. "Nice pick, Harper." Jessica Pierce, Ryan's lackey, sat behind her, smirking, fingers tapping her phone. Emily whipped her head up. "What'd you just say?" Jessica sneered. "Your photo, duh. Seen it yet? The whole school's losing their minds over it." Emily's chest tightened like a vice was crushing it. She fumbled through her backpack, hands shaking so bad she dropped her pen, and unlocked her phone. Notifications flooded in like a tidal wave. A picture, her in the parking lot pushing Ryan, but edited. Her face warped with rage, bold red letters screaming, "Psycho Harper, crazy bitch can't control herself." Below it, comments, "Looks legit unhinged. No wonder she's got no friends. Ryan should have hit her back." Emily choked, hands trembling so hard she nearly dropped the phone, eyes blurring with tears she fought to hold in. Jessica leaned close, voice syrupy with venom. "Ryan says you need locking up in a psych ward, Harper." "Shut your damn mouth," Emily roared, spinning around, eyes bloodshot, tears finally spilling but incinerated by fury. Jessica snickered. "Ooh, flipping out again. Watch it, I might snap another shot." Emily clenched her fists, nails digging into her palms until they bled, itching to lunge and rip that grin apart. But she held back, turned away, chest throbbing like a knife had pierced it. She'd never felt this humiliated, like the whole world was laughing in her face. By lunch, the entire school had seen the photo. After dismissal, it was all anyone talked about, the laughter echoing in her head like a nightmare. When she shoved the front door open at home, her dad was standing there, phone in hand, face dark as a storm about to break. "Emily," his voice cut through the air like ice, "sit down, now." She sank into the sofa, backpack still on, legs shaking so bad she couldn't stand. He held up the phone, same picture, same words. "Explain this." "I didn't do anything," she screamed, tears bursting free. "He did it. He wants to ruin me." "I know," he said, eyes flashing with burning rage, "and I'm going to make that punk pay." "Dad, don't," she begged, but he was already dialing, voice sharp as a blade. "Principal Carter, I'm coming over. Have your answers ready." Emily's dad, Daniel Harper, wasn't one to yell. When he got mad, he went quiet, and right now the silence in the living room was thick as a death sentence. He pressed the phone to his ear. "Carter, we've got a serious problem." Carter's voice mumbled through the speaker. "I'll look into it, just kids being kids." "No," he cut in, voice hard as steel. "We fix this today, or I'm taking it to court." An hour later, they sped to Pinewood, the car roaring down the road like a war cry. The school in the fading daylight looked like a crumbling fortress. Cold, still. Principal Carter waited in the office, arms crossed tight, fake smile plastered on. "Mr. Harper, I get you're worried, but let's not overreact." "Overreact?" he snapped, stepping right up to Carter's face, eyes blazing like they could set him on fire. "Ryan Mitchell's been harassing my daughter for months. Now he's smearing her online with this crap. Here." He thrust the phone forward, growling. "I want this gone right now, or I'm suing this whole damn school." Carter stammered. "I talked to the Mitchells. They said—" "I don't give a rat's ass what they said," he shouted, slamming his hand on the desk, the bang making Carter flinch. "What that kid did, that's what I care about. And you're answering me now." Carter fumbled. "Will, you'll what?" He pressed closer, voice dropping low and menacing. "I'm a prosecutor. Cyberbullying, targeted harassment. You know where that lands in the law? I can drag this school to court, and I will if you don't act." Carter's face went pale. "I'll call the Mitchells right now." "You'll do more than that," he snarled. "Delete that picture, make sure it doesn't happen again, and punish Ryan today." The door flew open. Ryan stepped in, trailed by his parents. James Mitchell, tall, in an expensive suit, radiating smug authority. His mom, petite, flashed a stiff smile like a puppet. Ryan's face was ashen, eyes darting away. "Mr. Harper," James said smoothly, "why blow this up so big?" "Your son made it big," he shot back, cold, locking eyes with James. Mrs. Mitchell jumped in, voice shrill. "Come on, it's just kids messing around. You're overblowing it." Emily clenched her fists, blood rushing hot to her head. Her dad took a deep breath, voice sinking like a grim omen. "If my kid did this to yours, would you be standing here laughing or suing me to kingdom come already?" James's face darkened. "Don't turn this into—" "It already is," he cut him off, stepping right up to James. "It's about power, about what you let your son get away with, and it ends here, right now." Carter, panicked, broke in. "Ryan's suspended, effective immediately." The room went dead quiet. Mrs. Mitchell shrieked, "Suspended? For what? A joke?" James growled, "You don't have the authority. Do you know who I am?" Emily's dad stepped forward, eyes ablaze. "Do you know who I am?" I'm the guy who'll haul your whole family into court if this doesn't stop." James shut up, lips pressed into a thin line. Ryan trembled. "Dad, I—" "Shut it," James barked, but the kid's eyes now held nothing but raw fear. Ryan didn't show up the next day, or the day after. By the weekend, rumors spread like wildfire. James was suing the school board, his mom, demanding Ryan's record be wiped clean. Some said they pulled him from Pinewood, shipped him off to a private school in another district. Emily didn't care. She went to class, head down, but the looks were different now. No more pity or mockery, just respect laced with fear. Monday, the photo vanished from social media. Carter announced a zero-tolerance bullying policy, voice shaking like he thought her dad was lurking behind the door. By Wednesday, Emily walked the halls without whispers weighing her down. A few kids nodded at her, like they were saying, "We saw it," and "We get it." At lunch, she still sat alone, habit carved deep like a scar. But today, Jessica Pierce slid into the seat across from her, fidgeting with her tray, eyes averted. Emily tensed. "What do you want now, Jessica?" Jessica muttered. "Guess you won, huh?" Emily snapped. "Won what? I don't need your pity." Jessica winced. "I didn't mean to get into it, just, pressure from Ryan." "Pressure?" Emily slammed her tray down, the clang jolting Jessica. "You laughed in my face. You call that pressure? Think I'm stupid?" Jessica paled, eyes welling up. "I messed up, okay? He deserved it. I just want you to know I'm sorry." Emily stood, tray in hand. "Your late-ass apology doesn't fix a damn thing." Jessica called after her. "But I want to make it right. Don't you see?" Emily turned back, eyes ice-cold. "I saw you pick his side. Live with that now." She walked off, head high. That day, she wasn't the one hiding anymore. The next evening, she sat at the kitchen table, her dad pouring coffee, the warm aroma spreading through the tense air. "How's school?" he asked, voice calm but sharp as a blade. "Better," she shrugged, fingers fidgeting with the table's edge. He raised an eyebrow. "Better how?" She gave a faint smile. "No one dares mess with me anymore, at least not now." He nodded, took a sip. "Good. I'm proud of you." "For what?" she said, surprised. "I didn't do anything big." "You stood up," he said, eyes flaring like fire. "That's the biggest thing you could ever do in your life." She hesitated. "I shouldn't have had to." "True," he softened, resting a hand on her shoulder. "But you did, and that's what I respect." She sighed, eyes locked on the table. "What's going to happen to Ryan?" He leaned back in his chair, voice low like a verdict. "Consequences will teach him, changing or not's his choice. But if he doesn't learn, I'll make sure he never forgets." Emily mulled it over. Ryan used to be untouchable, family, friends, power shielding him. But he screwed up picking her. She wasn't scared anymore, and that was the real win, a victory soaked in blood and tears. Emily never saw Ryan Mitchell again. By the weekend, his family yanked him out of school. Rumors said he got shipped to some far-off private academy or locked away in an out-of-state boarding school. He was gone, and for the first time in months, Emily could breathe, though each breath still carried the bitter taste of what she'd been through. But the scars he left didn't fade fast. The stares, the whispers, still lingered. Softer now, more cautious. She didn't wait for apologies or acceptance anymore. She raised her hand in class, spoke when she had to, met people's eyes with a gaze forged like steel. Slowly, the wall of isolation cracked like breaking glass. Friday, a girl from math class sat next to her at lunch. "Hey, can I sit here?" The next day, someone asked her to join their project group, voice shaky but real. Monday, a quiet kid from English muttered as he passed by, "What he did was messed up." "What?" She turned, voice cutting like a knife. "I didn't know it was that bad," he said, eyes dodging hers. "If I'd known sooner, I'd—" He trailed off, but it was enough for her to get it. People were starting to see, not just her, but the truth they'd ignored. That night, she sat in the living room, flipping through a book while her dad read the paper. The TV hummed low like rain outside the window. "You know," he folded the paper, voice deep and steady, "I had my own Ryan Mitchell when I was your age." "Really?" She looked up, eyes sparking with curiosity. "Yeah," he nodded. gaze distant like he was staring into the past. No social media back then, but the game was the same. Strong picking on the weak. "What did you do?" she asked, breath easing up. He smirked faintly. "I had to choose. Let him define me or stand up for myself." She swallowed hard. "And what did you pick?" "You see me sitting here, don't you?" He patted her shoulder, hand warm but firm. She let out a small laugh, the first in days. "Yeah." "And so are you," he said, eyes gleaming with pride. Emily thought it over. She'd chosen not to stay quiet, not to bow. And that changed everything, like a flame roaring up from ashes. Monday, the school halls felt different. Or maybe she did. Jessica nodded from across the way, wordless, but her eyes heavy with regret. The English class kid held the door for her, silent but sincere. In the cafeteria, a girl from history slid into the seat opposite. "Mind if I sit here?" "Go ahead," Emily said, voice light but solid. She didn't need the whole school groveling for forgiveness. She'd won, not because Ryan was gone, but because next time punks like him wouldn't have it so easy. Because next time no one would dare look away. Nobody should have to fight to be respected, to exist without getting hassled. But standing up's never a cakewalk. People will turn their heads, pretend it's not happening. But silence is the bully's weapon. When you break that silence, when you refuse to let them define you, that's when they lose. If this story hits you, think about sticking around, 'cause these talks matter, and the more we have them, the harder it gets for anyone to act like they don't